He's going tomorrow, President Trump, to East Palestine, Ohio, to talk to the people affected by that horrible disaster. He's going, of course, Joe Biden and all the heavyweights in his administration, they have blown it off. Now, I know what the fake news is saying, to the extent that they're reporting on this. It's just a photo op. Oh, it's all political. It's this, it's that. You know what it is? It's leadership. And good for him. And good for the people there. It's going to be great. They'll feel great about seeing him, and let's see what happens next. Joe Biden is focused, remains focused on Europe and Ukraine. And here he is. Seems to be having the time of his life on Polish, Ukraine, American Idol or something like that. This looks like a game show, and he is happy as can be as he does something in Poland that he hasn't done here in America. A prime-time address about Ukraine. We're all essentially at war, and Joe Biden has not formally addressed the country in a primetime setting about this one very important subject. Hasn't done it for America. He does it for everybody else. And Joe being Joe, he did it in a crummy way.
All of our allies would be united or divided? We would be strong. We would be united. He thought NATO would fracture and divide. Instead, NATO is more united and more unified than ever before.
Ah, NATO. NATO is more unified than ever before. Doesn't it give you a warm feeling inside that the North Atlantic Treaty Organization is more? Have you ever heard this song? Be honest. Doesn't ring a bell. Sounds like a kind of a crummy dirge. It is the anthem of NATO. It's been around for 34 years. Nobody can name this tune. But we're supposed to be pleased about NATO. Oh, by the way, Ukraine, for the record, not part of NATO, okay? What else happened today in Poland?
The kind of possibilities that come when people who live not in captivity but in freedom. 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 There is no sweeter word than freedom. There is no nobler goal than freedom. There's no higher aspiration than freedom. All that we do now must be done so our children and grandchildren will know it as well. Freedom. The enemy of the tyrant and the hope of the brave and the truth of the ages. Freedom.
Freedom, freedom. He can bark it all he wants. He doesn't know anything about freedom. This man is trying to put out of business, put out of existence MAGA, one of the greatest political movements of my lifetime, Make America Great Again. He has demonized it. He has presided over a country that is putting people in jail for January 6th, people who did not hurt anybody or break anything, who were allowed in by the cops. Freedom, freedom. Now he turns up, oh, this is what he does. He gets angry.
There should be no doubt. Our support for Ukraine will not waver. NATO will not be divided, and we will not tire. Democrats and Republicans in our United States Congress have come together to stand for freedom. That's who Americans are, and that's what Americans do. And every member of NATO knows it, and Russia knows it as well. An attack against one is an attack against all. It's a sacred oath.
All right. Again, NATO, Ukraine. Ukraine's not part of NATO. Look, I want Ukraine to win, but it's getting a little bit ridiculous. And remember, all of his tough talk, what he said last year. First of all, he is so emphatic that Putin is not going to win. And listen again to the tough talk.
A dictator bent on rebuilding an empire will never be able to ease the people's love of liberty. Brutality will never grind down the will of the free. And Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia. Never.
Strong words, and I hope he's right. I hope Ukraine is not a victory for Russia. But why did Joe give the green light to Russia 1 year ago?
I'm not so sure he is certain what he's going to do. My guess is he will move in. He has to do something.
What about freedom? What about pushing back against tyrants? My guess is he will. So here we are, $200 billion in, no end in sight. We may be dispatching warplanes soon. And let's be honest, okay? Can I see the map of Europe, please? We took out the names of all the countries. How many people in America do you think could pick Ukraine on that map? Could you? Could I? I can, but I cheated, all right? But seriously, this is a lot of treasure defending a country where Joe Biden's son had a pretty sweet no-show job. Anyway, we do have to address what Vladimir Putin said today. He pulled out of a very significant nuclear pact that's been around for a long time.
They want to deliver us a strategic defeat while crawling into our strategic nuclear objects. Regarding this, I have to say that Russia suspends its participation in the New START treaty.
START, that's been around for a long time in various phases, and that's it. It's gone. That's a pretty big step, and I think this is in reaction to Joe showing up in Kyiv for that photo op. Ronald Reagan is the one who initiated START.
For the immediate future, I'm asking my START, and START really means we've given up on SALT. START means Strategic Arms Reduction talks. And that negotiating team to propose to their Soviet counterparts a practical, phased reduction plan. The focus of our efforts will be to reduce significantly the most destabilizing systems, the ballistic missiles, the number of warheads they carry, and their overall destructive potential.
All right, awesome. And START, Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev, they signed the first START agreement, or at least the agreement to initiate START talks. Bush and Gorbachev actually signed, yes, START 1, and it goes on like this. Bush and Yeltsin, and then I think it was Clinton and Yeltsin. They had a lot of turnover there for a while. Obama and Medvedev, remember him, the front man for Putin. Trump was negotiating a New START agreement. They didn't quite work it out. Biden and Putin actually came up with one, and now Putin has turned it off. And it looks like he's really mad about Joe Biden showing up in Kyiv. Now, I have no fondness for Putin, but he does seem plugged in to certain things that are happening in America and the West.
Look at what they are doing with their own peoples. The destruction of the family, cultural and national identity, perversion, abuse of children, up to pedophilia, are declared the norm of their life.
This is happening. He's got us there, doesn't he? Too many people think that gender reassignment for children is not only a right, but a passion in America. He also went to January 6th. He's done this for a while. The fact that we have treated the people who've been arrested over January 6th, the way we've treated them has reduced our legitimacy and our credibility in the world. No doubt about it. The pundits, the talking heads, though, I'm generally kind of in agreement here. I mean, I don't like Putin, but there is a limit. I think they might even be going a little bit too far. Listen to this.
Look, Russia is a pariah nation. They are strategically in a disastrous situation. He has no way out except to break the Western alliance.
So here's the thing. When I was in the Marine Corps, they made us read this book by Sun Tzu, the ancient Chinese warrior. And this is a proverb. Build your opponent a golden bridge to retreat across. You know, you can overdo it on your enemy sometimes. You gotta leave room to save face. And it's almost like we're begging this guy to press the button, the nuclear button. Then again, there's a lot of tough talk from the administration, and there's a lot of weakness. I want to talk about Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, and compare him to Donald Trump. There's Tony reacting to the news that they pulled out of the START agreement, and then Donald Trump reacting a couple years ago to some bad news in the foreign policy realm. Take a look.
The announcement by Russia that it's suspending participation in the START is deeply unfortunate and irresponsible. We'll be watching carefully to see what Russia actually does.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
Which guy do you think they're going to listen to? Which guy is going to take care of America's interests? Take a good look, all right? We all know the answer. And I know Trump sometimes, yeah, it's not perfectly diplomatic, but it works. It works. Now, the president has been monitoring all of this, President Trump, and he had a lot to say about the state of the world and America. And, well, we have most of it, and let's press play.
World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists in the deep state, the Pentagon, the State Department, and the national security industrial complex. One of the reasons I was the only president in generations who didn't start a war is that I was the only president who rejected the catastrophic advice of many of Washington's generals, bureaucrats, and the so-called diplomats who only know how to get us into conflict, but they don't know how to get us out. For decades, we've had the very same people, such as Victoria Nuland and many others just like her, obsessed with pushing Ukraine toward NATO, not to mention the State Department support for uprisings in Ukraine.
I love it. He's naming names. Victoria Nuland, some State Department person. You know, this is his issue, though. It's great, but it's also dangerous. The swamp. He's calling out the swamp, and the swamp is coming to get him. They've been coming for him since 2015. And moments like this, well, it just fires them up even more. But I think it's necessary, and I think it's great. Next.
These people have been seeking confrontation for a long time, much like the case in Iraq and other parts of the world. And now we're teetering on the brink of World War III. And a lot of people don't see it, but I see it. And I've been right about a lot of things. They all say Trump's been right about everything. None of this excuses in any way the outrageous and horrible invasion of Ukraine 1 year ago, which would have never happened if I was your president, not even a little chance. But it does mean that here in America, we need to get rid of the corrupt globalist establishment that has botched every major foreign policy decision for decades. And that includes President Biden, whose own people said he's never made a good decision when it comes to looking at other countries and looking at wars. We have to replace them with people who support American interests. Over our 4 years in the White House, we made incredible progress in putting the America Last contingent aside and bringing the world to peace. And now we're going to complete the mission. The State Department, Pentagon, and national security establishment will be a very different place by the end of my administration. In fact, just into my administration, it'll be a very different place, and it'll get things done, just like I did 4 years ago. We never had it so good.
All right, this is an unbeatable message. Unbeatable messenger? I think so, but man, they are going to come after him hard. I mean, if you work in the swamp, if you work in the State Department, the FBI, the CIA, you hear this, what are you going to do? Yeah, the deep state. You're going to work. You're going to do anything you can. Do we have one more? I think we have one more, right? Hit it, Donald Trump.
We'll also stop the lobbyists and the big defense contractors from going in and pushing our senior military and national security officials toward conflict, only to reward them when they retire with lucrative jobs, getting paid millions and millions of dollars. Take a look at the globalist warmonger donors backing our opponents. That's because they're candidates of war. I am the president who delivers peace, and it's peace through strength. There was a reason we had no conflict. There was a reason we didn't get into wars, because other countries respected us. I entirely built, all right from the beginning, rebuilt our military. It's a big reason for that. They didn't want to mess around with the United States, and now they're laughing at us. We could end the Ukraine conflict in 24 hours with the right leadership. At the end of my next 4 years, the warmongers and frauds and failures in the senior ranks of our government will all be gone, and we will have a new group of competent national security officials who believe in defending America's vital interests above all else. Thank you very much.
Ending the Ukraine conflict in 24 hours, I actually believe it's possible. And I also believe it would not have happened. 60% of Americans agree it would not have happened if he were still president. Hey, remember that question about where's Ukraine? All right, let's get the answer, okay? Which one? There it is, the big yellow one, right? That is Ukraine. But how many people in America could really nail that on the first try? We'll be right back.